Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It's time to take another look at the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay. This time we're going to be taking a look at the sales that took place in February 2023. Now, as always, I break down my lists into three separate top 10 lists. Those cards from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. So in the month of February from the 1950s, we have, as usual, a lot of Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays cards. However, the top 10 list gives an example this month that not every card with the same numerical grade necessarily looks the same in terms of overall eye appeal. From the 1960s, we have some more Mickey Mantle cards, but some other players thrown in there as well. A couple cards that I question maybe the technical grade on, and I'll talk about those. And then from the 1970s, we have a good number of PSA 10 copies of cards that sold, or other cards that have a very low population. So let's get to the lists. All right, starting off with the top 10 cards from the 1950s. Coming in at number 10, we have the 1954 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card in a PSA 6. Great looking copy of the Hank Aaron rookie card. If anything, maybe a little bit off center, top to bottom. Great bright colors and registration on this card. It sold on February 26th. It was a buy it now for $12,249.99, almost $3,000 more than the current VCP average price for a PSA 6. But as we know, with vintage cards, eye appeal can sometimes result in a premium price for a card, and the buyer of this card must have thought that the great eye appeal on this PSA 6 was worth paying $3,000 more than the current VCP average price. On to card number 9. We have the 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card. This one is in a PSA 4, but with a miscut qualifier. As you can see, it is really off center, top to bottom. That top black border part there is right on the edge of the card. Other than that, colors look great, registration looks great, the back of the card looks fairly well centered. This card sold on February 5th for $12,650. It was a best offer. Now, the VCP average price there of $19,854 is for a standard unqualified PSA 4. So for PSA 3 examples, the average price is currently $15,000, and for a PSA 2 is $12,000. So this card sold for close to what a non-qualified PSA 2 card goes for. So as you can see, that qualifier there in this particular case dropped the value of the card by about 2 grades. Coming in at number 8, we have another 1951 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card, this time in a PSA 2.5. Centering on this is really nice. You can notice a little wrinkle there in that top corner. Registration isn't necessarily as nice as that PSA 4 miscut example. The back looks nice and clean though, no wax stains there. This card sold on February 23rd, best offer for $13,500. VCP average price of a 2.5, $12,561. So this one sold for about $1,000 over the current average price for a 2.5. Overall, nice eye appeal. Again, registration may be slightly off, but still a great example of the 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card. Coming in at number 7, we have the 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card in a really sharp PSA 7. Maybe slightly off center there, top to bottom, left to right, but overall, again, great color, great registration, great presentation. of that card. It sold on February 14th for $16,211. This one was an auction. 41 bids took to win this card, and it sold for actually about $1,000 less than the current VCP average price of $17,395. Coming in at number 6, we have the 1951 Bowman Willie Mays rookie card in a PSA 5. Again, centering is really nice. There's a bit of snowing up there near his cap. Looks like there's some maybe surface issues in that top corner, but overall presents very well. Again, another clean back of that 51 Bowman card there. This sold on February 3rd for $16,885. Another auction here, 56 bids, and sold for about $1,200 more than the current VCP average price of $15,623. Again, probably a slight premium paid because of the general overall eye appeal of this PSA 5. Coming in at number 5, we have another 1951 Bowman Willie Mays rookie card. Now this one only received a 4.5 grade. Again, the back is very similar to that PSA 5 copy there. But this PSA 4.5, you do see maybe a little bit of a crease down there or surface wrinkle, but there's not as much snowing. Really bright color. Again, it could be the actual picture taken for the listing, but that is a great looking Willie Mays card for a 4.5. This one sold on February 4th for $17,000, best offer. And in a 4.5, the average price for that Willie Mays rookie card is $13,202. So this sold well above the average VCP price. But you have to ask yourself, would you rather have that 4.5 or that PSA 5 for about $2,000, actually about $120 less? We'd love to know in the comments. All right, coming in at number 4, we have another 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card. This one in a PSA 4. Gorgeous card as well. Possibly just the registration a little bit off there. You can tell by the bat. But overall, great looking card. It's not perfect centering, but really nice centering. Nice clean back as well. Maybe a little bit of a wax stain there. But this PSA 4 example sold on February 1st. Best offer for $18,000. And even with this overall nice eye appeal, it sold for less than the VCP average price of a PSA 4 of just under $20,000. So the buyer here, in my opinion, got a pretty good deal in terms of what a normal PSA 4 Mickey Mantle goes for. Coming in at number 3, we have the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 1. Well loved, well beaten, however you want to describe it. That upper right hand corner there is really wasted away. The bottom left as well. Generally speaking, nice centering. Really frosted surface there. Very well handled 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, as you can tell by the back as well. This card sold on February 25th. It was an auction, 67 bids, sold for $23,099.99. Now the VCP average price for a PSA 1 is $29,463. So this sold for quite a bit less than the VCP average. Now, coming in at number 2, we have another PSA 1 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. Now, again, this could come down to the quality, brightness, sharpness of the image used in the listing. But we have a card here that is well centered. The corners seem to be in a little bit better shape than the previous example. There are creases throughout the front of the card across his face. The back looks to be a little bit nicer. This one sold on February 20th. 35 bids in the auction, $28,500. $599.99. Just under the VCP average price of, again, $29,463. But again, between this PSA 1 and that PSA 1, sold for about $5,000 difference. I think you can see that, again, they're both PSA 1s, but in my opinion, this one here has better eye appeal. All right, on to the number one card that sold from the 1950s in February. Yes, another 52 Topps Mickey Mantle, also in a PSA 1. Again, centering here, I think between all three cards is the most off, especially here top to bottom. The back's fairly nice. You can tell this card has multiple creases. Now this copy here, it appears that the creases around his face and stuff like that aren't as prominent as the previous card here, but the card looks like it has a little bit more snowing to it, a little bit more surface issues beyond the creasing. This one sold on February 17th, a best offer for $30,000, a little bit over the VCP average price of, again, $29,463. So what I would love to know in the comments is, all else being equal, between these three PSA 1 examples, which do you think has the better eye appeal versus the ultimate price for the card? Is it this PSA 1 example where centering is off, maybe creases along his face aren't as prominent, a little bit of surface issues? Here we have one, centering is fairly nice, but you got a lot of creases around his face, a little bit of surface issue as well. Or this copy here that looks a lot more beat up, especially in the corners and the surface wear. All right, on to the top 10 cards from the 1960s. Starting off at number 10, we have the 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson rookie card in a PSA 8, a very old PSA slab. You can tell by the font used, no PSA hologram, things like that on it. Very old slab, but a very well-centered 1969 Topps card. Colors are nice. I think the 69 Topps Reggie Jackson card typically has that faded image to it, so I don't think a lot of his cards have the bright greens or yellows to it. It is a normal faded image a little bit there, so I don't think it's a surface issue. Back is really nice as well. This card sold on February 27th. It was a buy it now for $4,015, about $500 more than the current VCP average price for a PSA 8 of $3,541. On to card number 9. We have the 1963 Topps Pete Rose rookie card in a PSA 7. This one sold on February 5th. It was an auction. There was only one bid for $4,100. Right around the VCP average price of $4,144. Now, last month's top 10 lists of the cards that sold in January, there was another PSA 7 Pete Rose rookie card. That one ended up at number 10 on the top 10 list of the 60s. That was an auction, and that card sold for $4,135. So with that sale, this sale here in February, and the VCP average price of $4,100, that is a pretty good indication that the going rate for a 1963 Topps Pete Rose rookie card in a PSA 7 is right around $4,100. On to card number 8. We have the 1969 Topps Mickey Mantle, last name in yellow, the more common version. The white letter last name is the rarer version. This is in a PSA 9, but again, a miscut qualifier. Other than that, the card looks really nice. This one sold on February 24th for $4,124.99. It was a buy it now. You can tell the back is also miscut as well. Now, that VCP average price of $25,683 is for a standard PSA 9 without any qualifiers. So in this case here, the VCP average price for a standard 8 is about $9,100. The VCP average price for a PSA 7 is around $1,100. So this sale here was right in between a PSA 7 and a PSA 8. So as opposed to that 1951 Bowman that pretty much sold for about 2 grades less, this 69 Topps Mickey Mantle sold for about a grade and a half less than the standard non-qualifier grade. In this PSA 9 qualifier, the population is 54. A standard PSA 9 copy, the population is 64. Coming in at number 7, we have the 1964 Topps Giants Luis Aparicio in a Gem Mint 10. Now this looks like one of the newer slabs, so if PSA is being really strict on their grading of vintage lately, this one still passed the test and received a PSA 10. I like to be critical of some PSA 10 copies, but I don't see anything wrong with this card. I think it's very worthy of a PSA 10 designation. This one sold on February 19th for $4,151. It was an auction, 26 bids. The VCP average price is that $4,151 because, according to VCP, there have been no previously recorded sales of a PSA 10 because in this newer slab, it is a Pop 1. In a PSA 9, there are 61 known PSA copies. Coming in at number 6, we have the 1967 Topps Tom Seaver rookie card in a PSA 8. The front presents really well, maybe slightly off center, but corners look nice and sharp, registration colors, all that. Great looking copy of the Tom Seaver rookie card. The back has a little bit of diamond centering, but all in all, great looking copy of that Seaver rookie card. This sold on February 7th for $4,250. It was an auction, 43 bids, and sold for right around the VCP average price of $4,327. Coming in at number 5, we have the 1961 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Now, as you can tell, the card's a little bit off-center left to right, but what caught my eye is the right-hand border there. That edge is really mangled a little bit. Now, my guess is that's how it came in the pack from the printer. This wasn't any attempted, trim job or trimming. But I know at one point, I believe PSA, this is an older slab. I think they took that into consideration in their overall grade. I wonder if this was submitted to PSA now, whether they'd have that same tolerance, I guess, for an edge that looks like that. This card sold on February 16th for $4,900. It was an auction, 52 bids, and sold for about $1,000 under the VCP average price for a PSA 8. So I'm thinking maybe the bidders that bid on this card may have taken that edge on the right-hand side there into consideration when they were placing their bids. Coming in at number 4, we have the 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Really nice copy. To me, possibly the only thing that presents it maybe from a higher grade is the little bit off-centering left to right. Nice clean back as well. A bit of an older PSA slab as well. This one sold on February 4th for $5,160. It was a buy it now. Sold for maybe about $200 over the current VCP average price of $4,971. All right, coming in at number 3, we have the 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Now, if you look at this card, and probably on the screen here, you may not notice this, but when I was putting the list together and saw the image, I saw more of a blown up image of this card. Now, you may not see it, but right at the top edge there, right along the, right before you get to the white border, there appears to be like small running, I don't know if it's a print mark or it almost looks like, because they're even patterns, almost like a line of small little indentation or pin marks or something like rolled right across the card, maybe in the printing process or something. I don't know. To me, that would probably take away from the grade. I don't know if this is one that would have normally graded a 9 and maybe because of that went down to an 8. It's an older slab. Maybe they forgave that. I don't know. But again, this is another one of those cards. Again, overall, great looking copy of the PSA 8. But I wonder how that would grade today at PSA, how they would look at what appears to be a surface issue there right at the top of the card. Nonetheless, the card sold on February 12th for $10,500. It was the best offer. Now, the current VCP average price is just under $7,500. So another strange thing that I found strange about this listing here, not only was that potential surface issue that I don't know if it was properly accounted for in the grade, but this copy sold for $3,000 more than the VCP average price. Now, again, maybe the buyer wasn't aware of what the current price and thought that was a good deal for them at $10,500. But this does represent, in terms of VCP's sales history, a new high price for a PSA 8. The previous high was $10,360 back in February 19th of last year through a memory lane auction. So very interesting 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle card that made the list. All right, coming in at number 2, we have another 1963 Topps Pete Rose rookie card in a PSA 8 this time. This sold on February 13th for $11,600. It was an auction, 50 bids, but sold quite under the VCP average price of a PSA 8 of $16,172. I'm wondering, again, even though it got a PSA 8 designation, there is the top to bottom centering there, especially on the back. The back looks a little faded. Again, I'm not sure if that factored in, but for an auction with 50 bids, it's a little surprising that it sold that much under the current VCP average price. So if you're just looking at a PSA 8 and what they're normally selling for, the winner of this card seemingly got a great deal. All right, on to the number 1 card sale from the 1960s for February. We have the 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 9. This sold on February 9th for $50,421. It was an auction, 31 bids. Now, the average VCP price for a PSA 9 is $68,100. So this sold for about $18,000 under the average VCP price for PSA 9. Now, if you notice here, it is a image that is really blown up. You can see here down at where the Mickey Mantle, the color there, the blue sort of bleeds below the lettering there. It may be hard to see on the screen there. So it looks like the registration on this card a little bit between the blue and the white and green is just off a little bit, especially around his name. I don't know if that turned buyers off. It's a somewhat older slab, not a really old slab. The back looks nice and clean, really bright. In a PSA 9, there are 40 copies. There are only 2 PSA 10s. But again, here's another auction, almost the opposite of that 1960 Topps, or even this one here. Again, the Pete Rose, an auction sold well below VCP average. And again, we have another card here, the Mickey Mantle in a PSA 9 from 1963 that sold for $18,000 in auction below the average price for that card in that grade. So again, some interesting sales here from the 1960s. All right, on to the cards from the 1970s. Coming in at number 10, we have the 1975 Topps Robin Yount rookie card in a PSA 9. Front looks really nice. Maybe, again, if you're really going to be nitpicky, maybe just slightly off top to bottom, left to right, but a great looking example of the Robin Yount rookie card. Back looks really nice as well. This one sold on February 19th for $3,200. It was the best offer, right at the VCP average price of $3,254. In a PSA 9, the population is 268, but there were only 6 PSA 10s. All right, on to card number 9. We have the 1971 Topps Rich Allen. Now, this is a high number series, so it's more of a short print in an 8.5. Nothing wrong with that black border. The centering looks really nice as well. Colors nice and sharp. I don't see really any print marks. Really nice looking card. Sold on February 12th for $3,250. It was an auction, 56 bids, and that $3,250 is the current average price because the last 8.5 sold for $634 back in June of 2016. So nice big jump there in price over the last 7 years. The population for a PSA 8.5 is only 4. There are only 3 PSA 9s and no PSA 10s. So this is one of the top rated Rich Allen cards from 1971 Topps, and again, it is one of the high number series cards. Coming in at number 8. An interesting card on the top 10 list, we have the 1979 Topps ERA leaders, featuring Ron Guidry and Craig Swan of the Mets. Now, this is a PSA 10 example, and again, I'm going to find a little flaw here, as I normally do. If you look right around the Ron there, seems to be a little bit of a ink smudge. Again, overall, the card is very well centered. Overall, for 79s, again, 79s, don't have the greatest. A lot of them have print issues as well, so maybe that was given some consideration. Fairly new slab, not one of the newest ones, but not necessarily an older slab as well. This one sold on February 5th for $4,000. Best offer. This one technically had not reached the VCP database yet, so in a PSA 10, there's no VCP average price because this is the only PSA 10 copy in existence, and there were no previously reported sales of a PSA 10 card. Coming in at number 7, we have another 1975 Topps Robin Yount in a PSA 9. Again, to me, this one has better overall centering, front and back. Sold on February 19th for $4,100. Now, this was an auction, 40 bids, and again, the VCP average price is $3,254. So this one sold for maybe around $800 above the VCP average price, yet this copy here sold right around the average price. Again, this is a best offer versus an auction, but both sold on February 19th. So I'm wondering if both of these cards happen to be followed at the same time and someone accepted the $3,200 offer maybe after they got outbid on this copy here for $4,100. Interesting that those two cards both ended on eBay on the same day. One was buy it now, best offer, sold for $3,200, but this one in an auction sold for $900 more, $4,100. Coming in at number 6, we have the 1977 Topps Mike Schmidt in a PSA 10. I don't see much wrong with that card, front and back, well centered. Again, really nice copy of that 77 Topps Mike Schmidt card. Sold February 18th, $4,950. It was a buy it now, not too much above the VCP average price of $4,753. In a PSA 10, there are 33 copies out there. Coming in at number 5, we have another 77 Topps card. This is the George Brett, also in a PSA 10. Again, in my collection or searches, I'm missing a lot of 1977 tops that I need of Hall of Famers in my collection, and even trying to find a PSA 7 copy well-centered seems to be pretty hard to do. This is a great copy in a PSA 10. Sold on February 16th for $4,950. Buy it now, again, also right around that VCP average price of about $6,100. In a PSA 10, there are only 43 copies, so a little bit more copies of the Brett in a PSA 10 than the Schmidt in a PSA 10. All right, on to card number 4. We have the 1977 Topps Dale Murphy rookie card in a PSA 10. This Dale Murphy rookie card, as you can see, there's a pop of 62. Over the last 6-9 months, I bet you a PSA 10 copy of a Dale Murphy card has shown up probably 3 or 4 times. So a very popular card of the top 10 list. There are copies out there in PSA 10 that show up on eBay. This one sold on February 4th for $5,000. Best offer, right around, again, that VCP average price of about $5,100. Coming in at number 3, we have a really nice 1971 Topps Fergie Jenkins in a PSA 9. Man, if anything, maybe just slightly off center left to right, but perfect black border, nice sharp corners, colors are really nice, no print marks. Overall, a great looking Fergie Jenkins cards from the tough 1971 Topps set in terms of condition. This one sold on February 7th for $5,000. It was a best offer, now sold for almost a little bit more than double the current VCP average price of $2,225. Now, the last PSA 9 sold for, this was a different copy, $2,225 back in June of 2020. So that's where the average VCP price came from, that sale back in June of 2020. Same card though, the same PSA serial number card in the PSA 9. Looking back at some of the few PSA 9 sales, because there's only a population of 8 in a PSA 9 and no PSA 10s, this same exact serial numbered card sold back in September of 2007 for $566, and it sold in February for $5,000. Coming in at number 2, we have a really nice 1973 Topps Mike Schmidt rookie card in a PSA 9. I don't have anything bad to say about the front. That is a really sharp looking front on that. The back, a little bit diamond centering left to right again, but within the PSA 9 qualification, I think that's allowed. Overall, really nice example of the Mike Schmidt rookie card. This one sold on February 22nd for $7,100. It was a best offer, sold for about $1,000 over the current VCP average price of $6,093. Now, in the PSA 9, there are 250 examples, but only 6 PSA 10s. All right, on to the number 1 card sale from the 1970s for February. It's the 1970 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. Now, this is one of the high number series cards, so it's more of a, if you want to call it a short print. Great looking example there, front and back. One of, I think, Nolan Ryan's more popular cards. This sold on February 8th for $8,995. It's a buy it now. VCP average price is $6,697, but again, I think the overall eye appeal of this card, it is great looking. The back may be a little yellowed, but that's the only thing I could see that would be a negative for this card, which is probably why it sold for a premium, again, over the VCP average. All these price quotes here are the average price, so there are some that sell above and there are some that sell below, but the $6,700 is the average price. This one was probably at that upper end of sales figures, and I think well worth it. In a PSA 9, there are 125 copies, but only 3 PSA 10s. Well, there you have it, the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for the month of February 2023. Would love to know in the comments what you think about some of those cards that made this month's top 10 lists. With that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.